you're trying to fit. You're trying to fit each other. And so that's where a lot of pressure can come from. But you have to know that, okay, if I love my husband, I got to be able to know what's bothering him. And I know mine. I'm telling you. If he never said, well, honey, what's wrong with you, nut? I know my husband. And likewise, oh, hush. And he knows me. So what I'm saying is, women, because we was pulled from the man, it threw him somewhat off balance. I'm just let me finish. And so we are his balance. We are the man's balance. Okay? We are his balance, like just like on a balancer. Okay? When he is bent out of shape, thrown out of whack, or off balance, because we are his rib, we got to come in and do what's necessary to balance him. I hope somebody is understanding what I'm saying. So now you have to understand that you are the balancer because of where you was pulled from and designed from, and that was the rib. That cover actually covers all the organs. And it just amazes me how God took a rib. So we are supposed to cover. We are supposed to cover just as well as the husband is the head of the household or the head of his family. The wife is the one that is supposed to balance and cover the organs of the husband. And that's a big responsibility. And don't get me wrong, it can be done. I'm not saying it can be done. I would never say anything to scare somebody away from marriage, but I'm telling you, these are the things we have to understand. And women's, if you are not ready for that, if you can't humble yourselves to be that woman that balance your husband, let me tell you something. As I said it before, there are good men. And there are good men that are in prison, have been to prison, out of prison, whatever. And there are good women out there that's looking for a good man. Okay? So if you can find oh God. If you have a lot of baggage, let me just say it like this, and all of us come with baggage, I don't care who you are.
Oh, yes.
Every one of us come with baggage, some kind of way, okay? And so all you have to do is find that person that can help you. Good God, help me, Jesus, tonight, honey. All they need. All of us got baggage, so baggage come with suitcases. And that's what baggage is suitcases.
Right.
And all another individual need is somebody to care enough for them to grab their bag and say, come on, I got you. And help them unload, unpack, per se, their baggage. And the person, all of the people that told you, oh, he been to jail, he been to prison, you know what they say about him in prison. And I keep saying that for a reason, okay? Because there are a lot of single men and single women out here because they, God help me, because of their past and where they've been, people feel like they're not good enough. And if you're watching, let me be the first to tell you, oh yeah, you good enough. You good enough. You good enough. If God can forgive your past, you know what? All of those that's in your future now, if they can't, then guess what? Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Because if God can forgive us, it doesn't matter. Does it, honey? It doesn't matter about anybody else. And so I know it's a lot of people that are looking for husbands and they're looking for wives. So I'm telling you, y'all, this thing is, marriage is real. But if you love each other enough, you can weather any storm. I believe that with all my heart. You can weather any storm.
Okay. Oh boy. Whew. Hallelujah.
I'm about to need a fan.
Falling
Somebody give me a
in
church
love
fan.
is easy.
Uh-huh.
Listen to me now. Falling in love
Yep.
is
It
easy.
is.
But staying in love is hard
Yes.
work.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Listen.
Getting married easy too, ain't it?
Yeah, we are.
But staying marriage is a whole nother story.
But listen. When you fall in love, if you're loving the right person, then staying in love is easy. You know why? Because if you love each other, there is nothing that you would do to make the other person not love you. And I feel that once you get in love and you decide that you this is it, then you're gonna have some ups and downs before you fall in love. You're gonna have some ups and downs after you fall in love. But once you fall in love, as Christ loved the church, Christ didn't. If the church done wrong, Christ didn't turn around and walk away from the church.
Oh, come on, honey. Exactly.
So if your loved one do something wrong, why should you walk away from them? We're supposed to be just like Christ. That's why we call ourselves Christians, because we are Christ-like. Now, if we are Christ-like and our wife or our, what should I say, mate, would do something wrong, but just because they done something wrong don't mean you got to walk off and leave them.
Come on.
If your person do something wrong, what you got to do is ask God. You go to God, ask God to forgive them. And when you ask God to forgive them, then God gonna find a spot in your heart so that you will forgive them too.
God.
But you got to take it to God. You can't say, "Well, I'm going to say, well, babe, I'm gonna forgive you," and don't take it to God. Because if you do that, then every time you think about it, it's gonna come back up and come out. That means a person said, the Bible says, so thinks a man, so is he. So if you are thinking it, then you are it. So what you got to do, ask God to forgive them, and when God forgive them, then He'll help you to forgive them as well. But He's not going. You can't do it yourself. That's why most marriages fall apart, because we are trying to forgive a person ourselves and not turning it over to the Lord.
Yes. And I'm telling you, if people only knew that our prayers can be hindered on how we treat our spouse.
Oh, yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Your prayers can be hindered. Y'all better hear me on how you treat your spouse. And so what my husband just talked about, okay, here's some questions. So how can you keep your marriage strong in the better and build it back up in the worse? Want to know? Love your wife or your husband more than you love yourself.
That's it right there.
Ah!
That's it.
I don't think they want to hear that, honey.
That's it.
Push your needs aside, and instead of asking what he or she can do for you, ask, what can I do for you?
That's it. That's it. See, that goes back to Kennedy. You know, he said, "That's not what your country can do for you, but what you can
But
do."
what you can do for your country.
But listen. I'm going to step on somebody's toes. Now, move your foot. Men, how many of you out there love your wife better than you do yourself? How many of you out there will give your wife your last dime, your last penny? I'm not talking about, I'm just using money now. I'm not talking about other things, because that other thing mean more to your wife than money. Well, it should be. Some things mean more than money. But, you know, a lot of women, and men too, they love money, and they feel that if I can get somebody that care enough for me to give me their last penny, then they love me. No, that's not it.
Okay.
That's not it.
My Lord Jesus.
Love is a whole lot deeper than your pocket.
Come on.
Once you begin to love a person, there's a different, sight that you can see in them, or they can see in you, telling each other that we love each other, telling them that there's something about you that's different from other people, then once you be able to see that in your mate, and the difference that you see in your mate than other people is what God has put in them for you, then that's your mate. Then it's time to stop dating and ask her to marry. But before you get married now, make sure you have went through counseling and everything else that you need to do in order to find out if there any baggages that you was talking about that is going to come with this individual. If there's some baggages, what are the baggages?
Yes.
Can I deal with these baggages?
Yes.
Because, I have dated her and I haven't seen these baggages yet. So premarital counseling is there to show you these baggages. But a lot of people don't want to go through premarital counseling because there are some things that they got under the cover they don't want to
That
bring
they're
out.
afraid to come out.
But
that's the place, and that's when you'll know if that person really love you or not. If you can accept me, my flaws and alls, you understand me, from the beginning, then I know. And see, that's why I was reading a story about a rapper a while back. I'm not sure which one it was, but it was in a magazine, and what I was reading about was that he and his wife have been together when he was nobody. That's what it was. That they were dating and they grew up together, and she was there with him when he was nobody and didn't have anything. And I just want to tell somebody, that person that will stay there with you when you don't have anything, then you know that they're not after anything that you got. And so that's the person you need to weather the storm with. If that person was with you when you had nothing, y'all, I'm telling you, that's the one. That's the one you might want to weather the storm with. That will weather the storm out with you. Okay?
Well, see, one thing about it, if they have stood with you when you were going through the storm, and still standing with you now, then that tells you a lot. This person love you enough to do whatever necessary in order for you to survive. But now, if you going through some things and your mate decide that this is too much for me, you went to jail. I can't deal with you. Then you better let her go. Or vice versa, you better let him go. Number one is because we all gonna make mistakes in life.
Yes.
And some mistake that we make causes us to be isolated. I just said go to jail now, be isolated. Even if it means going to jail, you're gonna be isolated for a minute. Now, if you're isolated, then that God is getting you prepared to be a husband or a wife by you putting you in isolation because you're moving too fast that he didn't want to put you in a marriage while you're running like that. He wants you to get still and be able to hear from him. And by the way, when you're in isolation, that's a good place to hear from God. Number one, look in the Bible. I'm going to go to the Bible. I ain't going to preach. But the Bible tells us that there were disciples, there were men of God were put in jail, in prison. And while they was in there, they had an encounter with God because they were put in a place where they could really sit down and hear. Even the people, the three Hebrew boys were put in isolated. They were isolated in the fiery furnace so God can come in with them.
So what you're saying is when you're seeking God for a mate, sometimes you have to pull away.
Pull away.
And as the song say, steal away.
Steal away.
And isolate yourself until you hear from the Lord. And you said something a while ago, honey, about take it to God. And if you love each other, and you got issues, if you love each other, you'll be able to work it out. Something you said, but and I pointed up. And my thing is, you gotta love upward first. You gotta love upward. You really do, because you gotta love the Lord.
Oh yeah.
You gotta love the Lord first. And I know a lot of people don't believe that that's so. That you can have a successful marriage without God being in it. But if you do, if you do, I want you to write the book, do the movie, write out of everything about it, how you do it. Because I'm telling you, I have to call on the Lord sometime. And they ain't got nothing to do with my husband, but it's got everything to do with me shutting up. I'm telling you. Oh my God. I'm telling you, y'all, you have to. I'm telling you. Okay, so now the next look, I want to talk about, it says, what percentage of Americans get married? The decline in divorce rate is no doubt tied to the decrease in the marriage rate. So there's a decrease in the marriage rate. Y'all listen. It says in 2000, 8.2 Americans were married for every 1,000 people. By 2017, only 6.9 Americans for every 1,000 people were married. Nationwide, nearly half, 48.2%, of all Americans aged 15 and over are married. And that's as of March 7, 2019. So, it's not that the rate of divorce is so sky high. It's the rate of marriages that are not even taking place.
That's it.
Because people, as the new word, cohabitating, and we say it, live together or shacking or whatever word you may use, but I'm telling you, y'all, it's
But
something.
It's amazing that people today rather shack up than to get married.
Yep. And they'll say in a minute, oh, we fine. I don't want to get married. We fine. We ain't getting married.
But Christians, you cannot be a Christian and shacking up. I'm just saying it like it is, because that's not Christ-like. You gotta marry before you shack up. I understand this is a new day. Y'all say you're doing a new thing, okay, keep doing your new thing, but in here you're going to open your eyes. God said that he sanctions marriages. He don't sanction shacking. And there's no such thing as a common law marriage. You're either married or you're not married. Well, Pastor, you said a lot of people get married, be married 40 and 50 years, and then divorce. Well, so much for that. But God sanctions marriages.
Yeah. Amen.
Okay?
Amen. So now, for those that says put a ring on it.
Oh my.
A lot of people, they focus more on the ring, the ring, and the wedding more so than they do preparing themselves for marriage, or they're not thinking about the marriage, but the weddings we've done last probably less than an hour, only a few minutes to be honest with you, and you're in years of debt with the marriage. Some people don't even stay married long enough to pay off the debt of the wedding. Honestly, there was one time in my younger years, and I didn't understand it. There was a married couple that got married. And y'all, they got married and they had the biggest fight ever the night of their wedding. And when I say fight, I'm talking about knives, and I will never forget that. And I asked my mom, I said, but they just got married. And my mom said, honey, that don't mean nothing to some people. She really did. But it just kind of blew me away, because I'm like, okay, now they supposed to be happy, and they was all happy preparing the wedding and all this and that to have the biggest knockout drag out on their wedding night. But back to the ring. Some people put a big price on the ring, and I say again, if that's what you want to do, then that's all fine and good. Do you? But can I tell you something? When we got a ring, I can tell you how much my ring was. I can tell you where it came from. My ring was $199, and I'm saying this for a reason. I want y'all to hear me. That's what we could afford at the time. Remember, honey? Mm-hmm. Okay. And that was not important to me. I'm telling you, it was not important, guys. I'm telling you, the ring should not be more important. The ring, God help me. Your ring should not be bigger than what you want your marriage to be. But some people get so focused on the ring, they forget about staying married. And so I'll let me just go back. I said my ring cost $199. I remember it well. I got that ring and I wore that ring proud, honey. But can I tell you something? Since then, I've had so many different ones. I've had so many different ones, different colors, different styles. And I'm saying that for a reason. You understand me? I'm telling you, because in the beginning, the ring was not important to me. It was me getting married and being happily married to my husband. That's what was more important to me. And I could have had a little bitty band. And I don't wear my good ring all the time. This is just something I like. This little band right here. That's my everyday band, isn't it, honey? But I've got several, is what I'm saying. So up the road in time. Don't put a lot of work into getting the ring. You got to put the work in the marriage, y'all. You got to put your work in your marriage. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you. Because, honey, I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, and I've seen it happen, a lot of people put a lot of money in the ring, and guess what? Later on, she trying to give it to somebody or take it to the pawn shop or throw it away, whatever. No, don't never throw it away, honey. Don't never throw it away. Go if you got to do that, go pawn it. But I'm telling you, I just want to let you know that should be the least thing to be important is your ring and how it looks.
Okay.
One time on Facebook, it was a ring. I think the ring, like I can't remember how much it was, but they was making fun of it. Would you accept if he bought this ring for you for Valentine's Day? I believe it was a Valentine's special on rings or whatever. And would you accept it if he asked you to marry you with this? And a lot of people were making fun of it, but yet and still you saying you want to get married.
And they don't have a ring at all.
But your focus was on the ring and you don't have one at all. Exactly, honey. And I mean, it's just crazy. And don't get mad. Look, each to its own. I'm just saying, if you don't have anything but a band, it's the vows in your marriage is what you really got to work on.
Let me sit there. A $25,000 ring. Mm-hmm. Is a complete circle. Okay?
Come on.
A $2 ring.
Is a complete circle. You better say that.
Okay. That means that
my.
Your love will never end, whether it's a $2 ring or a $25,000 ring. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, I feel like this about rings. Rings are for beautification. I love you with the ring on and with the ring off.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That doesn't make the ring, doesn't make the love.
Absolutely, honey.
It's that on the inside that makes the difference. Mm-hmm. Once you become engaged with the person and you really show them that you love them, then what does the ring have to do with it?
Oh, come on.
The ring only on the finger. I'd rather have your heart than to have your finger.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Okay, so
exactly.
So why not just eat? Number one, you really don't need a ring. To be frank with you, I know you young lady. I see you. I see you. Wow, if he don't give me a ring, you don't really need a ring. Woo. You don't really need one because the ring only around your finger, and
yes.
the ring will eventually you either lose it. Or pawn it or sell it or something eventually, so it will be gone. But the love that you have for each other, it's not going anywhere unless you make it go.
A ring doesn't have to remind me I'm married. It doesn't. No. And I believe that's a lot of the problem with some people that they have to have. That could easily be taken out. And look, y'all see that ring? Lord have mercy. It's been around my finger for so long, but I'm telling you, it doesn't take that much. It doesn't take that much. A lot of people want to live like I don't know who. Okay, the Housewives of Atlanta. Is that the name of the show? I think it is. A lot of people want to live like them. Guess what? You don't know how they're living. Mm-hmm. They are on a television show. They are on a set. And I say this all the time to young people that's wanting to be like somebody else, you know, especially like those on television. And let me tell you something. I'm on TV. There's a lot that has to go on behind the set. And when we dress and put on our clothes, we dress to impress the television. You understand me? But as soon as we get off that set, what we do? I go back, honey, get out and put on some comfortable clothes.